Colorado's police officers can now get sued personally for what they do on the job, and this is leading to a lawsuit. A fourth well-known woman joins the race to be Denver's first female mayor, and she's taking not-so-subtle aim at the other women in the race. We're getting ready for a live debate here tonight in the congressional race that just got rated a toss-up. Invest in success sounds like a cliche, but what if you could invest in school teachers? And if they and their students succeed, you get paid. We'll look at this fresh idea for dealing with the teacher shortage. Artists who are not defined by their disability, but who want you to know how it impacts their experience. They're putting on a show.
Art is art is art, and any and everybody can do art.
And another voting mailer mess up just days before ballots go out. It's a busy night on Next. There's about to be a significant test of Colorado's police reforms. 2 years ago, Coloradans gained the right to sue officers personally for misconduct on the job. The new case does not come out of the most scrutinized police departments in the state, like Denver or Aurora. It comes from Sterling, out in far northeast Colorado. That's where a man was hogtied and put face down in a patrol car in an incident that happened not long after the law was passed. Just a heads up, Steve Sager's report includes body camera video of what happened.
I was shocked.
Attorney James Roberts is talking about this video, now 2 years old. It's October 9th, 2020 in Sterling. Officers are here responding to a neighbor's call about hearing loud voices next door. They're standing on Chris Weitzel's porch.
There was a knock at the door, and my wife ended up answering it.
What's going on?
Just an argument.
Weitzel comes to the door.
What's up, man?
Come out here and talk to me, man.
No, I'm cool.
No, come out here and talk to me.
I'm cool.
Okay, then come out here and talk to me.
No, I'm cool.
Come out here and talk to me, dude.
Hey,
do
touch
not
me.
pull away from me.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Do not!
In a matter of 10 seconds, Sterling officer Paul McDaniel has his hands on Weitzel and takes him to the ground. Sterling officer Matt Williams and Logan County Deputy Alton McGuffin hold him down.
I just remember getting thrown to the ground and, feeling a strong pain in my ribs, and it just happened all so fast. Next thing I knew, I was hogtied.
Stop! What are you doing, Lou?
Hogtied. It's a method of restraint where someone's hands are cuffed, legs are bound, and the hands and legs are tied together.
I didn't know what to think at the time. I was just in shock.
The officers in the video keep Weitzel hogtied on his stomach for a total of 16 minutes, both on the ground and in the back of a squad car, something the Department of Justice warned not to do in a bulletin dating back to 1995.
I felt violated.
In the end, Weitzel wasn't charged with any crime for domestic violence, the reason police were called in the first place. He was charged with obstructing a peace officer, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct. All charges dropped by prosecutors, and now he's taking the officers to court.
Christian was simply standing in his doorway, responding to the officer, giving no indication he was going to flee or use violence of any kind.
I don't think it's right. People have rights.
The officer who hogtied Weitzel no longer works as a police officer in Colorado, according to the state database. The chief of police in Sterling told me tonight that they take any allegations of misconduct seriously, and a use of force review was conducted in this case, but he hasn't said what the result of that was. McDaniel left the Sterling Police Department back in February of 2021, so just a few months after this happened. It's unclear. We're working to get some disciplinary records just to see if anything happened after this case.
The fact that he could sue the officers individually makes the grounds of the lawsuit easier.
Yeah, part of this law, because you think about, you would have to prove, if it was a police department, that there were patterns and practices of this happening before.
If you're going to sue the whole department.
Yeah, you'd have to show that it was part of training, but in this case, you can actually charge, or you can actually sue the police officers and kind of go after them in civil court in a separate way.
We know you'll follow it start to finish. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. If Denver voters are serious about electing the city's first female mayor, they're going to have a lot of choices. Longtime community leader Lisa Calderon is the fourth prominent woman to enter the race. Calderon finished third last time around. Calderon's worked on social justice issues in Denver for decades now, and she was a vocal critic of outgoing Mayor Michael Hancock. Calderon is currently the executive director of Emerge Colorado. That's an organization that trains progressive women to run for office. Democratic State Representative Leslie Herod, another candidate for Denver mayor, actually came up through that Emerge program. It was in the years before Calderon was there. The four women in the race could fairly be described as the frontrunners at this point. They have the most experience and the most name identification around town. In her announcement to us, Calderon made a pretty thinly veiled reference to the other women in the race, saying that she's not a career politician being term limited out or part of Denver's political machine. Representative Herod, of course, is a well-connected rising star in Democratic politics. City Councilwoman Debbie Ortega, who's in the race, first came to council in 1987. She's term limited. And former Chamber of Commerce President Kelly Brough is expected to have strong support from her connections in the business community. Denver Clerk's Office sent out some inaccurate information to voters, but they say it's too expensive to fix it now. The error is in the Spanish language section of the voter guide. The mistakes were first caught by Denverite. The journalists there were working with a translator on their own Spanish language voter guide. Denver's official Spanish voter guide uses the same wording for two different ballot initiatives about taxes, ballot questions 2J and 2K. Clerk's office told us it will not be mailing out a new corrected guide because it's a thick book this year, and printing alone costs about $187,000. The online version has been corrected. This is the second time in a week we've been talking about bad information coming from elections officials. Colorado's Secretary of State's office accidentally mailed voter registration reminders to 30,000 people who are not eligible to vote. There is one major race in Colorado this November that is considered a true toss-up, according to the very well-respected political forecaster Larry Sabato. It is the 8th congressional district, Adams and Weld County. This week, Sabato moved the race from lean Republican to toss-up. Right after next tonight, the candidates in that race will debate live here on 9 News. It's the only televised debate currently scheduled between Democratic State Representative Yadira Caraveo and Republican State Senator Barbara Kirkmeyer. The district includes Adams, Weld, bit of Larimer County, and this district has more Latino voters than any other in the state. It's also 46% unaffiliated, so big unaffiliated share, 27% Democrats, 24% Republicans. We have cleared out all of the commercials tonight at 6:30 on so that we can make time to discuss the economy and inflation and abortion and energy production, as well as things that raise questions about the candidate's judgment. That live half-hour debate starts right here at 6:30, immediately following next. Tonight's debate is the first of 6 we are televising this year on 9 News, an unprecedented number. Coming up in the next 2 weeks, you'll see debates for Colorado's 7th congressional district and all of the statewide offices except governor. Republican candidate Heidi Ganahl declined our invitation to debate Democratic Governor Jared Polis. Schools, short on cash, are asking investors to train their teachers with a promise to pay them back if the teachers stick around. And it's more than an art gallery.
We're all disabled and we are all either employed or employable as artists or even beyond that.
A group of artists is putting their experience with unseen disabilities front and center. Start a conversation. That's next. Fixing Colorado's teacher shortage is a complex problem. A lot of solutions are being tried. Our Nusha Roy shows us a new approach, asking some in the community to buy into education in a different kind of way.
Between more teachers retiring than new teachers coming into the classroom, COVID, and the Great Resignation, it's adding up to 17.1% turnover rates for teachers in Colorado for last year. It's impacting kids' learning, putting pressure on staff. So to hear this from Aurora Public Schools,
we're interested in ramping it up.
That is looking into a new type of Pay for Success initiative, first reported by Chalkbeat.
We've been thinking outside of the box for a long time.
Aurora partnered with the nonprofit PEBC. This nonprofit raised $1.4 million from businesses and community partners to cover alternative teacher training so that educators can get into a residency program inside classrooms and receive mentorship.
Nationally, there's about 300,000 fewer teachers and school staff right now than there were in early 2020.
But what's happening here is investors are covering those upfront costs for training, not teachers and not the district. And that funding can afford up to a $42,000 stipend. Investors would only get repaid if the teacher stayed within the district for at least 3 years.
Retention rate for alumni of the residency program is about 83% of them are still teachers after 5 years.
There is an inflection point between years 3 and 5. Do I want to be a teacher on an indefinite basis? Do I want to consider other industries.
The hope is a program like this can dismantle some barriers, like folks interested in teaching but cannot afford to take a year off from work to train and switch professions. In Aurora, they're hoping this helps with retention. Replacing teachers is expensive.
We have 2,500 teachers. And so it's easy that adds up quickly. That's why I say millions.
The district has been a part of this pilot and is feeling good so far, but said it is still too early to call long-term success.
So, of course, this is addressing the beginning of the pipeline and offering mentorship, but doesn't address the huge issue of teacher pay. Other districts are participating, too, along with Durango, Montezuma, Cortez. That's just a couple of examples there. The nonprofit said that it's hard for them to find stable funding to support programs like this, so everyone is really watching to see how successful is this going to be over the next couple of years.
It's interesting for sure. So what's the cost per teacher that the investors are putting up?
Yeah, when you're talking about this alternative program, it's anywhere from $6,000 to $14,000, and a lot of times the educator is paying for that. Sometimes the school district will contribute to that, but in this case with the new initiative, you would only fully pay that back if the teacher kept teaching in that district for at least 3 years. The investors at that point would get a little bit of a return, but it wouldn't be anything huge.
Not like putting it all on red and spinning. Yeah, no, got it. All right, interesting. Thank you, Nisha. October is a crucial time for the scientists who study water in our state. It's the beginning of what's called the water year, when scientists start to monitor the snowpack in the mountains and predict how it'll affect drought conditions in the spring. The last water year ended strong. New water year is not off to a great start. Colorado's Water Availability Task Force says the summer was especially humid, and what that means is the soil has ended up wetter than normal. If it can stay that way through the winter freeze, that water is locked in, and the melting snowpack in the spring won't get sucked into dry soil. That would be good. But the state's assistant climatologist tells us that would require us to have a cold fall and winter to freeze the ground, and we're not expected to get that.
So the Climate Prediction Center has shown that it is more likely that we are going to continue to be warmer than average for the rest of the calendar year. And there's a slightly increased chance that it will be drier than average. And so the benefit of those wetter soils that we're seeing now could be lost quickly.
So a hotter than normal end to the year is problematic for a couple of reasons. It dries out the soil, makes it thirsty to soak up the water. And if less snowpack accumulates in a drier winter, more of what does fall is going to get lost to evaporation.
Well, we have a sunny, dry stretch of weather. The only thing we're really going to watch for is just going to be these areas of up and down temperatures. It looks like I'm having issues with my map, though. Uh-oh, we're not working here. We're going to move off to the side, but we are going to watch for a lot of sunny conditions. The winds maybe pick up a little bit as we continue to move on through the rest of the week. We're going to watch for overnight temperatures to cool down quite a bit as well. So let's go straight over to our freeze warning that we have. That'll be in effect for central Colorado River Basin, where those temperatures can drop to as low as 29 degrees. And tomorrow we'll see these temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. It's not going to feel much like fall. And even with these stronger winds and drier air, we're going to have red flag warnings that'll be in effect off to the east. You can see it here in central and northern portions of the eastern plains, where we have this red flag warning that'll be in effect from noon until 6. We're going to watch for these winds here to gusts around 35 miles per hour with relative humidity as low as 12 to 18%. So outside of this warm day we're expecting for our Friday, we go into the weekend with more seasonal weather, sunny skies, mid to lower 60s, and then our work week still looking very dry, very sunny, and we're going to watch these temperatures anywhere from the mid 60s to low 70s by midweek.
They're living with disabilities that most of us can't see.
As soon as you start carrying a cane or, using a dog, the world starts to respond to you differently.
Their art is a chance for us to step into their world and learn something. Next. They are Coloradans who live with disabilities, but have the choice, because of the nature of those challenges, to either let other people know or keep it themselves. A new art show features Coloradans with so-called invisible disabilities who want to start a conversation about their experiences.
Art is art is art, and any and everybody can do art.
We're going to go over to the left, and there's understudy. Huh, Chessie?
This is an art show. All of us in the show have a different disability or similar disabilities, but it's more of a look into how our disabilities work with our creativity and with our creative process.
It's important to know that people with disabilities are still people. I wouldn't say that being disabled is a gift, but I also wouldn't say that it's a burden. It's kind of just how we are.
I suppose being a blind artist is new to other people, but I don't necessarily think it's a new thing in the world.
Any artist, with or without a disability, is putting their heart and their soul out to the world.
It's harder because it's pretty bright right now. There's a lot of invisible ink written on the walls and on the mannequins, and you take a black light and you have to walk around and you have to work at learning what someone's disability is.
Respect people with disabilities because they can have a lot going on that you don't know about. Just don't make assumptions about people.
I'm an artist first, I'm an athlete first, I'm a human being first, and anything else is secondary.
People with disabilities are capable of way more than you could even imagine.
The show is called Disability, Pride, and the Arts. It's on display at the Colorado Convention Center through October 30th. Hey, we are about to have a debate right here in this studio. Time to get the candidates in their seats. We'll be back with that next. Welcome back, folks. We're a few minutes away from the start of the first of 6 debates that we are televising this election season. This is the only scheduled televised debate at this point in the 8th Congressional District, which is expected to be the most competitive congressional district in Colorado at this point. The candidates have gotten seated and settled in our studio right now. We have Republican State Senator Barbara Kirkmeyer and Democratic State Representative Yadira Caraveo. We appreciate the fact that they are coming in ready to take questions from members of our next team, and it's also a chance to hear directly from a few voters in the newly drawn congressional district that stretches from the Adams County suburbs just north of Denver up to Greeley and Weld County. I'm now going to throw on a tie to class the joint up a little bit, and our live 30-minute commercial-free debate starts right after this.